If it happens that you were to win or receive 500,000, what would you do with it? So someone left a very interesting comment on one of my previous videos. I can't recall your name, but I do remember the comment, because from that comment, I did say to you, I'm going to come back with you with the video. So for me, I found that question to be very interesting, and I definitely want to break it down to you in terms of my thought process, because these are things I normally think about. I would love to win a lotto one day, and I know what I would do exactly if I were to win that lotto, because my mind is always pondering on, if I were to receive a lump sum, how would I even handle it? Those are things that I think about a lot. And so I'm going to bring you in my thought process and how I would handle this money. But before we get into that, let me first introduce myself. Who am I? My name is Jennifer Ngumalo. I'm a content creator as well as currently self-employed. I run my own business, and in this channel, we focus on personal finances, career, as well as lifestyle content. So if any of those are things that interest you, do make sure that you join us by clicking that red subscribe button on the bottom, and also don't forget to smash that like button, and also let me know your thoughts. What would you do if you were to get 500,000? How would you break it down? For me to know what I would do with this 500,000, I'm going to break it down into three things. This is how I think. I think of today, I think of my peace, I also think of future growth. That's just how I think in most cases. I think of what is needed today. What do I need to do today? What do I need to do to secure my peace? And then what do I need to do to also leverage in the growth and the compound interest that you find when you think long term? That is normally how I think. So that is exactly how I would think about this as well. I would look at, how do I break down this 500,000 into these three pillars so that I make sure that I fully optimize it, right? So when I say today, what would constitute today? So today I would look at, what do I need to do today? Things that I have, commitments that I have, things that are my responsibilities. So those for me, in terms of today, it would be the things that I need to do at home. Like right now, I really need to fix the roof at home. Remember, a few years ago, I did take out a loan to renovate at home, and then I got the worst builder who did a horrible job on the roof, and the roof has been just leaking ever since then. But obviously, because of how much money I spent, the fact that I took out a loan, I could not go back and take out another loan in order for me to fix that. I still wanted to focus on paying off that loan. And then when I was done with that, I really just wanted to focus on self, because I have focused so much on everyone else. I focused so much on my family. It was time that I focused on me. But now I do know that I know it's something that is pressing to me, that I need to fix that roof. So that is an immediate thing that is today, right? And then for my peace, right? For my peace, it would be things such as an emergency fund. So right now, when it comes to my emergency fund, I did build that up. Remember, I built it up to 100,000, and then things happen. Obviously, emergencies came out. We needed to fix the gearbox of the car, so I had to contribute for that. And then I resigned from my job. Also, I needed to start using my emergency fund. So I've almost depleted my emergency fund. So that would be another thing that I look at and basically secure. And then long term, now we're looking at investing. How can I best make sure that I put this money so that I leverage on future growth as well as compound interest? So there I would be looking at my TFSA as well as other investments. So let us break this down even further. I will be putting numbers on the screen. I don't know whether I should scoot this side. Let me scoot this side. I will be putting numbers on the screen here so that you can go along with me. We're going to start first with today. What is it that I would do that is my responsibility, that I need to take care of? So the first one is that I need to fix the roof at home. So I call this, I'll put this under renovations, right? So we have, when I look at the cost that are associated with just fixing the roof, our home is quite big, and because it's quite big and the type of roof that I need, so that I know that this is something that I'm going to do and it's going to sustain us for the next 15 years without having to worry about leakages and having to fix it again. I just wanted to do it properly. I'm estimating around 60,000. So I would allocate 60,000 towards fixing the roof at home. That's all that I need to do, fix the roof at home. The rest of the stuff stuff, it's fine. And then the second thing that I would do is to do rental units at home. With this video, you guys are literally getting into a lot of things that I've never shared here, things that are my plans and things that I really want to do. It's just that I don't have the funds. But if I were to have the funds, this is exactly how I would execute it. So I've spoken to my mom about this. My mom just retired, and obviously I've shared with you guys that she does not have any retirement funds. She hasn't been contributing to any funds and so forth. So she has nothing, right? She only has savings, but those savings are small, and she was saving those through me, giving me the money because she just knows that I'm responsible with money, but they are small, right? So I was telling her that I am not working. I'm not working a formal job where I know that I have a stable income, and as a result, she can't rely on me. She also can't rely on my other siblings because of all the responsibilities they have, and also the type of jobs that they're having and the income that they're making. So then I said to myself, how can I make sure that my mom still continues to be okay and takes care of herself without relying on me, without me feeling the pressure of, oh, now how am I going to help her take care of herself? How am I going to make sure that there's food on the table, that she doesn't struggle, that her life doesn't change a lot now that she's at home? So I was like, I can build rentals at home, build back rooms at home. That way there's going to be passive income coming in. We spoke about this, found a quotation and so forth. So right now, the cost of that, the labor and the material, is I'm roughly estimating to be below 60,000, but I would put 60,000 towards that to just be able to build those. It will just be 2 rooms, but with those 2 rooms, they will bring her enough income for her to be able to sustain herself, because each room, if it's done properly, it can be 1.5. Then if it's 2 rooms, then it's 3,000. And then she's also a pensioner now, so she will be getting that pension money. Then adding that pension money plus the rental together, it will give her enough funds to be able to take care of herself, because she needs to just take care of herself. Not really concerned about anyone else but herself as a retiree. Ne? So those are things that I would do today, just to make sure that today the responsibilities are taken care of. Now let's then come to the peace part. I said I did have an emergency fund. However, I've almost depleted my emergency fund because I resigned from my job and my income has really fluctuated over the months. It was really down and out for some time, whereby I was not making much. I'm still going through my emergency fund and it's almost done. So another thing that I would do is that I would allocate money towards my emergency fund and just build it up again. So here I would put about 80,000 to just cover my emergencies that may come up. And also, let's also consider the fact that yes, I'm working, but I'm not working a traditional job. I don't know when I'm going to get back to working a traditional job. So I don't have a stable income. I do have income, but it's not stable, right? I do have my rental income. I have my YouTube income. And then I also do have brand deals that come in there and there. But it's not all of these things, or 2 of these things are not stable. YouTube, 1 minute is up, 1 minute is down. 1 minute, we told you 5,000, 1 minute to total 3,000. It's really, really unpredictable. And also my rental, as much as I get it, but it still doesn't cover all of my bond. So I need more money to cover those things. My emergency fund, it's difficult for me to build it up while my income is so low. Unless my income start building up again, then I will be able to build my emergency fund even further. And then the second thing that I would do under peace would be having a solution fund or multiple sinking funds. And what would be these sinking funds for? So these sinking funds would be for things that I know that are going to come up, but just so that I'm able to have savings for, so that when they come up, I have money that I can take away from, so that I can cover those things. So the thing that I would put here, that I would have, is to put money away for the holidays, about 10,000. So far, we've been putting money for holidays. My partner basically has been saving money for holidays, and I haven't been contributing towards that fund. So obviously, if I were to get such money, I would definitely add 10,000 into that fund, so that we know that for holiday fund, it's just there are funds that are available. And then the second one would be school. School, for me, I find that it is one of those things that is demanding when it comes to the resources, because once in a while there's always an activity. One minute there's an activity, 1 minute there's this needed, and so forth. So I would like to have about 10,000 for school. This is not just looking at 1 year, but looking at just over time, to say this is a sinking fund. If it happens that my daughter needs more uniform, I would be able to take from here, and so forth. So that would cover, that sinking fund will be for school. And then another sinking fund would be a medical. So right now that I'm not working, I am part of a medical aid under my partner. However, I find that with his medical aid, the benefits are not as nice as GEMS, guys. GEMS benefits, even with the basic option, are much better than Discovery. Go to Discovery and you will feel it. Every time I go to a doctor, a GP, in most cases, these GPs, even if I've nominated that GP as a family doctor, we still have to pay for levies. So I would rather have funds have a sinking fund for medication, for medical reasons, so that if it happens that I go to a doctor, my child goes to a doctor, we know that we've got funds that we can take from in order for us to cover those additional costs. The medical aid does not even cover the medication. Every time I have to buy medication, even if it's a prescription, does not cover it. I honestly miss GEMS. I miss GEMS at this point. So I would put about 8,000 on this. And then another one is I would have a solution fund, or basically a sinking fund for slow months. So what does this mean? In the months whereby I'm not making as much money from my gigs that I do, my business, my YouTube, maybe I have no tenant, like right now, I haven't had a tenant for a month. So that also does impact on my income, right? So in the months where it's low, like the income is really, really low, I want to be able to have this money so that I can be able to cover up my budget and cover the things that I will not be able to take care of because of my low income in that month. So that I would allocate 20,000. So that would be my peace of mind: emergency fund and sinking funds. So the sinking funds will total up to about 48,000. Then now let's look at future. When it comes to my future, here we're looking at investing. So you know that I do have a property that I owe in terms of the bond that I'm paying back to the bank. I then thought to myself, okay, what would I do? Invest this money or pay off my bond? So in my thinking, as much as I have this bond and I want to invest, I would really like to put a lump sum into this bond, because over time, if I put in a lump sum, I am able to save on interest over time, because it will also decrease the number of years that I'm owing on this bond, which obviously over time I will save on interest. But here's what I would do first. Instead of taking that money and then taking it straight and putting it into a bond, I would test it first on the JSE market and see what it does for me. Put it there for about 2 to 3 years, just so that I can see how much interest I can make off that money in those 3 years. After those 3 years, then take that same money and then put it into my bond. And the reason why I'm saying that is because with the bond, once the money is in there, it's in there. If you take money from there, it's like an access, but then they still make you feel like you are borrowing it and so forth. So I don't like that. I don't like to save with my bond with an intention of withdrawing the money if I need it. Once I put money in my bond, I put money in that bond and I consider it as gone. So what I would do is that money that I would want to pay as a lump sum, which I think here my plan would be to put 100,000 towards my bond repayment as a lump sum. I would take that 100,000, take it to a JSE market and actually invest it for the next 2 to 3 years in assets that are growing fast. The two assets that I would do would be the S&P 500 as well as the Nasdaq. But I would do this in an offshore account. So I wouldn't do it in a ZAR account. I would do it in the American account. under easy equities, because you can do that. And the reason being is because on my personal account, I already have these two things, the Nasdaq and S&P 500. So I wouldn't want to then do it as also on the ZAR account. I would rather do it on an offshore account so that I see how it performs there. So it will be 50,000 here, 50,000 here for the next 3 years. Let's see what it does. And then after those 3 years, cash out that money, take the profits, and then with the principal, put it into my bond. And let's see what it does there as well. And so that will be the first thing that I'll do under future. And then the second thing is I would max out my TFSA for 2026. Now we're already on 2025. I'm about 1,200 short to max out my TFSA for this year, which I know that I'm going to do before the end of the tax year. But for 2026, I would then put 36,000 towards my tax-free account and keep another 36,000 for 2027. But how would I keep it? I would go to my ZAR account, buy an asset that I would buy on my TFSA, but I would buy it on a ZAR and then keep it for a year so that the money is not just sitting and not invested. And then when the new tax year starts, sell those shares under the ZAR, take them to my TFSA, knowing that, okay, now I've contributed for the whole year of 2027. 2028 and beyond, then I would be fine. And most probably by 2027, I would be working. Actually, 2026, I will be working. Half of the year of 2026, I will be working. But just so that I know that with this money, I'm using it responsibly, this is what I would. And then the third thing is I would invest for my kids. So I do have a TFSA that I've opened for my daughter. So I would definitely want to put in money here. But obviously, this will be a lump sum and will be a once off. So I would take about 20,000 and put on the TFSA for my daughter. So then it will be about 40,000 that I would have invested for my kids. So then I know that is a lump sum that I would have then went in and bought an asset, one ETF, not a lot. With 20,000, I'll go and buy one ETF. Maybe I will choose two ETFs, two different ETFs for the two accounts, but I will buy one ETF as a once off, and then I would let that grow for the next 18 years. Obviously, when I then work, I will then top up like maybe 500 to 1,000 on each account. So another thing that I will have is that I will have my normal investments. So what are my normal investments? My normal investments are my easy equities ZAR. That for me is my normal investment. So there I would put about 20,000 and I would just top up on whatever assets that I have in there that is performing well. I wouldn't look for a new asset. I'll just top up on the one that I have, because when you top up on the one that you have, you increase the value, which also increases the level of growth that assets gets over time. In most cases, I think it would be one of the ETFs, you guys. I love ETFs. Ever since I discovered ETFs, for me, they're just the way to go when it comes to investing. Everything else for me is just fluff. I don't really focus a lot on individual stocks, individual assets. I like to just go straight to ETFs. Whenever I'm thinking of investing, I'm always thinking of what ETF can I buy? What ETF is doing well right now, or that has proven that it has always done well in the previous years. And the nice thing about ETFs is that when the economy is down, recessions and so forth, they are one of the assets that tend to do well. Like they tend to pick up faster than the normal stocks. So for me, ETFs are always the way to go. So all of these things, when you add them up together, 500,000 would be finished, and there wouldn't be anything left for me to just be lingering around. But all of the money would have been given a job. So that is what I would do if I were to get 500,000. That's my thinking process, and that is how I would handle it. So with that being said, I'm going to close it off here. I hope that I answered your question in terms of what I would do if I were to get 500,000. Then you also got a glimpse of my thought process and the things that have been concerning me, the things that I want to take care of, and the things that I really need to make sure that they are done. And you got it in this video, especially when it comes to finances, you got it in this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I will see you on the next one. Please take care and stay safe. Bye.